really did it.
But at least remember your preferences or something.
Yeah.
Hello, Internet. And holy fucking shit. What a press conference. This is Dan Hobbs with HardRacer UK talking about the E3 2013 Sony press conference. It finished all of 20 minutes ago, and with me is Josh and David again from Ubisoft. Hello.
Hello.
And joining us, extra man Nathan Ortega.
Hey, everybody.
How's your E3 been, Nathan, so far?
Redeemed, honestly. I'm in a better mood than I was earlier today.
I am now 23 hours up and 4 cans of Bulldog down, so this will be a ropey fucking show.
Dude, how many did you take down during the Sony conference?
2. You were right.
I knew it.
Right.
I called it. By the way, I apologize that I'm yellow. I'm like a Coldplay song.
I didn't notice that.
Right, so if I refer to my dodgy Twitter notes, my first one was Hijack Tretton. So, he came out on stage, and he is so much better than anybody else I've seen on stage today. That's not
the only one that even comes close is Aisha, just because she was funny.
Yeah. Like, Don, I keep wanting to call him Dick Mattress. Don Matrick is Don Matrick is a charisma sub.
Yeah, he's not good.
Jack Trenton and fucking Shuhei Yoshida has just got the happiest face.
As I said, the most infectious smile in the industry, just easily.
All those guys up on the Sony stage were amazing.
It's hard to be mad at a polite, smiling Asian guy. So
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
You feel obliged to bow every half a second.
The first big thing they did, they showed a handful of video games like Killzone, Tearaway, things like that. First thing they said, they officially sort of unveiled The Walking Dead 400 Days, which is coming over the summer, and there'll be a new bundle where you get the entire first series of The Walking Dead and this new one. Is it PS3 bundle?
PS Vita.
Yeah, Vita
PS
bundle.
Vita bundle. With the 400 Days, whatever that is. Assuming I think it's the link between the first and second series, if I'm right.
Yeah, probably. There's a trailer. We should have watched the trailer beforehand. I was just so caught up in all the other kerfuffle we're gonna get into that I didn't even think about it. This ended up being a minute blip on the radar as we went along.
Like that was pretty big news at the start, but by the end of it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, they did that. Yeah, fuck.
The Vita stuff we had was pretty good. I got it written down here: God of War Collection HD 1 and 2, Tearaway, Flower, Dead Nation, Killzone Mercenary, Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2, and then Walking Dead, as you said.
I think the real story behind that is how little they talked about the Vita when people kind of thought it was going to be a Vita-heavy conference. Probably thinking a third, if not half of it, was going to be about aiming people towards the Vita. They almost glazed over it, which is fine. I think that they kind of realize there's a hardcore niche audience for it. They'll continue to cater to it, hoping to draw more people in, and it's kind of all you can do at this point. I don't think that there's a title that's going to make people go, I must own a Vita now.
Yeah. But with the other press conferences, they focused so much on next gen. They kind of didn't need to be left behind.
Yeah, so exactly.
I think that's why they did focus more on PS4. But we did get some PS3 love.
Yeah.
I've got. They saw The Last of Us, which is already coming out this Friday. Super excited. They showed Rain from Studio Japan and Puppeteer from Studio Japan. New trailer for Beyond Two Souls, and now I thought that game was like Heavy Rain, but that looked like gameplay, like cover shooter. I have no idea what that game is anymore.
Yeah, it looked so much more action-y than any of us ever probably thought it was going to be. I hope that that's just literally a sequence in the game and they don't go too much in that action-heavy direction. That I feel like it'd be misguided for that title.
Well, let's be honest, it's Quantic Dream, like Fahrenheit and Heavy Rain. They don't seem to go for action-heavy stuff. There must be a context we're missing. As you said, probably just a scene in it.
It sounds weird, but I said to the two guys I was watching it with, if this has proper gameplay in it, I don't want to play it. Which sounds really stupid, but I want another heavy rain style thing. I don't want another
Yeah.
recovery shootery thing. What else did they show? You got more in there now. What else did they show?
Gran Turismo 6 was the last one they showed for PS3.
Which looks like Gran Turismo.
Yeah, a new tyre model, new suspension model, new aerodynamic model, new adaptive tessellation. Tessellation is just as you get closer to something, the geometry increases. So that's pretty much that.
Nothing.
Let's face it, it's really weird to say this given Sony's nature in the console war over the last... I hate the word console war, I apologize. But given the nature of that battle over the last couple of years, Sony's in this unique place where they can just say, oh, by the way, here's what we're releasing for the PS3. Done. And just instantly, they're leagues ahead of Microsoft because their support for the PS3 this year has already started out leagues better than Microsoft's ever did. You know,
it was like the first 30 minutes or something, 20 minutes even.
Yeah.
I mean, even the last couple of years have been pretty weak in terms of first-party support from Microsoft. So, I mean, just the fact that they're putting out anything at all is an improvement.
I feel like that actually, and that was a benefit they had going in, whereas Microsoft really needed to take some time and say, hey, this is how we're going to support it. PS3 could literally just be like, hey, remember these games? Let's move on.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much what they did, really.
Yeah.
They moved on to, they did a Batman Arkham Origins trailer.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
It looks like Batman Arkham Origins, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Batman game. There's not much more you can say, really. It's good.
Exclusive costumes. I love 1960s Batman, so
Are you really going to play that game with that, though?
Yes.
Interesting.
Why would you not? And then I'll pretend to be Adam West as I act out the parts.
I can pretend to be the lesser Batman.
Hey, that 1960s movie is the greatest Batman thing ever.
Oh, I didn't see the movie. The one episode I remember of that show is where he gets captured by Robin Hood, and that right there just shows you the bizarreness of that campy 1960s.
In the movie, it's going well up. I think in the movie, he's on his back copter dangling over the ocean, and a shark grabs his foot, and he
and he's on a ladder and he fighting.
And he's punching the shark in the face. Then he asks Robin to get his shark repellent bat spray down. He sprays the shark, and the shark drops off back into the water. It's amazing.
So no, I don't want to play as that Batman in Arkham Origins.
At least they gave you the option to do so rather than making a whole game that is the rumored '60s Batman. You know, this is a nice middle ground, I think.
That could still be out there. Don't underestimate the power of Batman.
Just an unlockable that sort of goes into the camera. That's what I want.
But anyway, they moved on to GTA 5 then, with the exclusive PS3 bundle, which was pretty interesting. And the headset that comes with the bundle?
A very nice headset.
A very nice headset. They said they were getting, more stuff in the coming weeks, so I don't know if that's a Sony-related thing to do with GTA 5, or just you're going to have a new trailer soon.
Yeah, it was a pretty expensive special edition for GTA as well. It was like £120 just to get a blimp or something in game.
It's like $200 or something.
Yeah, it's a lot of money for a hat and a mount.
Yeah.
It's something like I don't know. But then they showed the box, and the box looks nice.
Yeah, I mean, whenever they do this, and I felt the same way when Xbox released its hardware, I think people get really up in arms about what these things look like because it's something to get excited about. But like I tweeted, no one has ever said, I'm not buying that console. It looks ugly. Like, if it's a good console, you care what's in the box. In the end, you really don't care what's outside of it.
Yeah, it's the black box that goes in your TV at the end of the day. I know a lot of people who have, doors on the front of their sort of entertainment unit. They just put it in straight away and don't go in.
Yeah. For me, it's just a matter of the Xbox looks like it's going to take up way too much space in my entertainment center versus this, which it looks a little bit easier to conceal, which is really what I care about more than anything. So, I mean, this looks a little goofy, but it's easier. It looks like it's a good 30% smaller than the Xbox. So, in that respect, I'm cool with it.
It might be I think it looks just as long, about 2 and a bit sort of disc lengths.
Yeah.
So I judge length. But it's nowhere near as tall. And it does look less like a Betamax.
More importantly, though, there's good airflow in the back with the grills, which will help the cool down.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, so there was a lot of airflow behind it?
Massive,
There's like huge grills behind it. Like
Okay.
you know, there's kind of like two diagonal panels. with a
Yeah.
gap in the middle. Well, the whole top panel of the back is just grills.
It's like a big.
That was my one concern was like, if you look at the Xbox One, it is half just, grates to provide airflow. Whereas this one looked a little bit more, I was like, I wonder if there's any danger of that overheating. But, after I learned my lesson, whatever console I buy is going to sit like on top of a garbage can or something like that to provide ultimate airflow.
Oh yeah.
It's designed with a purpose, clearly.
Yeah, it looks nice. I think it's a bit weird. It's a bit on the slant, but it looks.
It's edgy.
Yeah, edgy. Anybody else? Comment on what it looks like. I just want to see. I just want to see the back. I want to see what the ports are because I'm weird.
They didn't say how many USB ports and stuff there were, did
On
they?
the front, I saw that.
I want like USB ports. I want to see how many HDMI's it's got and how many. Has it got a component cable back or Ethernet? And
I imagine.
I don't know why, but I just want to see that stuff.
I imagine it's going to be fairly simple or fairly similar to the PS3, where two USB ports in the front, Ethernet port in the back, HDMI port in the back. I bet no component cables. That's my guess.
Yeah, we're past analog signals now.
Yeah. Music Unlimited.
That had a great reaction. Then we moved on to Michael Linton coming on stage and talking about the entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
It was the kind of thing they had to do, really, wasn't it?
Like we said in the pre-E3 thing when we were doing the rumors and stuff, that they're overpriced half the time, and really, do we care about that stuff? But as you said, they got to acknowledge it because Microsoft has.
Could you not feel the tension on Twitter of being like, move on, move on?
Oh yeah,
move on.
You can really feel it. But like, to me, it shows that the company is working together for a change. Because the company would never have dreamed of seeing Sony pictures and Sony games on the same stage.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows me, like, under Cancer Eye, the CEO of Sony, they're sort of working together so much better, which can only really be a good thing.
It was a gesture of good faith, if nothing else.
Yeah, and they did blast through it quite quickly. All of that stuff, they did move through it at a reasonable pace. It didn't feel like it took up a majority of the conference. Because a lot of that stuff is just like a given.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like, hey, that stuff your PS3 does? This will do that too.
Yeah, like Video and Music Unlimited, they're going to come over day one. So it's fine, because Netflix is going to be on there. It's going to be on there. So
they didn't spend most of their time dwelling on that like the Xbox initial release announcement was, so.
Oh, yeah, I mean, maybe 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Tops.
And that feels like more. That feels like more for the shareholders than anything to let them know.
Yeah, the buzzwords is just to keep the shareholders happy, like you said. We had Shu Yoshida come on stage then, and he announced 2 exclusive titles. He never mentioned the second one, but I'm assuming it was when he spoke about Dark Sorcerer later on. I think that was the second one, and the first one was the werewolves one, the Order 1886.
Oh yeah.
That was leaked. Well, let's say leaked. They have the URL or something leaked a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and we knew that 1886. I actually thought it was funny because everyone knew that 1886 was a property floating around Sony, but Ready at Dawn was working on it. No one knew exactly what it was, and it was really funny because everyone was like, "We've looked at the year 1886, and nothing happened that year." And apparently, it has no historical reference. It's about werewolves, so.
Going for the Van Helsing kind of steampunk look.
Yeah, we won't know anything until we get gameplay, but it looks cool in its own right.
I'm assuming that the way that trailer set up, the first thing I thought was 4-player co-op, because they have this whole shot of like those 4 specific characters, each with different weapons. It's like, okay, this is gonna be a co-op game, which I'm fine with. I like those, so that's a plus for me.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Borderlands class system kind of thing.
Right.
And they kind of had that look, didn't they? Like there's the one girl, she has the shotgun, and one guy's gonna have the grenade launcher.
They all have their roles, yeah.
Yeah, that's it looks pretty good, I have to say. I do agree with the 4-person co-op thing, but Tesla weapons is awesome. They showed just a few highlights from Killzone, Drive Club, Infamous, and Knack. which are currently going to be on their YouTube channel because they didn't want to show the whole thing and stuff they showed before, which is smart.
Yeah.
And then we had a creepy old man face sighting.
Yeah.
I believe that was a tech demo.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to show what they can do.
Yeah.
Because it was a bit goofy, wasn't it? It was like an outtake kind of reel, almost.
Well, and Quantic Dream does those all the time. They did Casting Call, and they did Kara.
Yeah.
Remember with the girl who is getting put together and taken apart?
Yeah.
This is easily the most endearing one of those, you know. And they always are kind of, yeah, all right, you guys are showing off. This at least had a little bit of knack, like acknowledging that, hey, we tried to make it at least funny for you.
It was fun.
Yeah. But it did look really impressive. But you know, build a game out of that is a total other story. We had Adam Boyes, who is the what's his official job title? He's like third-party relations.
Yeah, he's the indie guy, basically.
Yeah, he's the one that brings on all the people that don't work for Sony. And I got half a list here of the games I was very interested in. Have you got the list, David, of all the indie games that are coming?
Yeah, it took a long time to get them because he went through them. Sometimes he started with the studio name, then the game name, then he said the game name, then the studio name. It was just so confusing. But this is what I gathered from it. We've got The Witness from Jonathan Blow, which we already knew.
Puzzle game.
Supergiant Games who made Bastion and making the Transistor.
Yeah.
Or just Transistor, which looks good.
Yeah, that game looks awesome.
I'm such a huge fan of those guys that they can do no wrong at this point.
Yeah, even though it's a 2D game, it still looks like better than half the next-gen games already. And then self-publishing, then they were saying this is an open platform and stuff, and then they moved on to saying Don't Starve, creators of Mark the Ninja, that's coming. Something Kings, I didn't get that one.
It's Mercenary Kings.
Oh yeah,
So-
Mercenary Kings.
Octodad,
Octodad is goddamn amazing in every way.
Secret Ponchos.
That game looked awesome. That game looked like dripping with style.
Yeah, and Raised Dead, the zombie game.
That's zombies.
And that was kind of a condescending moment. It was like, they didn't think we'd take their idea, but we thought we'd bring them on stage. And it was just kind of like, there you go, you know.
Well, you didn't screw up, guys. Good job.
And then the last one was Outlast.
And Outlast is goddamn scary.
Outlast looks
Scary.
awesome.
It looks a bit like Slender, the whole video camera thing.
But you've got like a bloke. Imagine Slender Man, but like 4 foot wide, made of muscle.
Have you seen the demo for it? That they basically what they recorded from PAX
Creepy.
East.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Terrifying. That game is going to be awesome. That's what survival horror should be.
I sense another Let's Play, Dan.
Oh yes, you have to do it. You have to do it. You missed one up there. Oddworld, New and Tasty.
Yes.
One of the most favourite games of my childhood.
I introduced Rory to that yesterday. He played it for the first time on the PS1.
I loved it. It was fantastic.
First thing he said was it's one of the most well-designed and original game ideas he's ever seen. Like, just design-wise, the Oddworld in itself.
It's so clever. It's amazing.
Yeah, Lord Lanning is a goddamn fucking genius. He just doesn't make enough games.
He doesn't have the money, unfortunately. I mean, that series has been struggling to get an audience for a while, but it's
It has one.
But all of that stuff is debuting first on PlayStation 4. I believe that's what it said. Like, it will be on consoles first on PlayStation 4. And the way they did that to bust out was super awesome.
Well, and it's self-publishing. I mean, they're self-publishing on the PlayStation 4, so unless there's some sort of deal locked up with Xbox One, they can't bring that stuff to Xbox One. And stop me if I'm wrong, but like they're self-publishing that stuff on the PlayStation 4, and that spoke miles. You know, I say all the time, the industry grows from the ground up, and at least there was some acknowledgement of like, hey, these games are actually doing things that impressed us. You know, we ended up at these people's houses seeing this stuff being played, and yeah, it was a little bit of just a general bone to throw to the indie audience. But at least they're throwing it. You know, like, what did we get from Xbox One? We got Below, while Phil Spencer wore his fucking Cappy shirt under his blazer. Like,
I know, what a fake-ass move that was.
Yeah,
on the 360, you had the XNA framework, which was like a C# framework, and you could build indie games in it. And before you could put them on the Xbox Live indie thing, you paid like £100 a year, I think, or $100 a year for a subscription to publish to Xbox Live.
and hundreds of dollars for an update after that. If you had
Yeah.
a bug,
And exactly,
the
indies
bug
can't
existed for a while.
most indies can't afford that. So the fact that that was a crappy sort of, exchange of ideas for Microsoft, and then they've completely not acknowledged it in Xbox One at all. Like, you have to go through a third-party publisher or us.
Yeah.
They almost seem like they actively have like animosity towards indie developers that aren't proven. Because if you look at the games they announced already that are part of their indie swath coming out this fall, it's all developers that have already had big hits that have an audience already. They aren't taking any risks at all. They're just going with the safest possible bets, and I find that a bit cowardly.
And so, I'm just to see PlayStation 4 at least bring out, 5, 6 games in the end that they, showed here as indie games for the PlayStation 4. I thought that was a much needed nod that, like, because if they're pitching themselves as the game console, or as the gamer's game console, that's a must, and it proves that they actually are aware that there's a demand for that industry.
There is one game I forgot to add, Galaxy.
Oh yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sold on Octodad. They had me on Octodad.
Yeah.
Have you played either of those before, Dan?
I've played the tiniest bit of Octodad, and I've played some Don't Starve.
Yeah, it's not like the most complex game in the world, but it has a lot of charm to it, and a kind of Earthworm Jim kind of way.
Yeah. Next, what did they have next? It was Square Enix.
Diablo on the PS3 then.
Yes. Apparently you're getting Uncharted and Journey stuff.
Yeah, Drake's Dagger or something, exclusive items.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they keep it to just Sony stuff, like, Drake's Dagger and, like, I don't know, Medieval Sword from, the game Medieval with Daniel Forte or something, that would make sense. But if it's going to get too much exclusive stuff, it'll anger the PC gamers a little bit, so they got to tread carefully.
You got like a Journey scarf, I suppose.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Or, Infamous, Killzone. I mean, there's so much garbage they could throw in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
And then
it was
Tetsuya Nomura came on then, which was Final Fantasy 13, which has now become 13 Verses, which has become Final Fantasy 15 now.
Yes.
And Kingdom Hearts 3, which I think that went down super well with the audience.
The reaction from the audience just said it all.
And the two guys I sat with, like, they were just like, oh, God. And then it went 10 to 15, and they were like, yeah, makes sense now, but holy shit, that was amazing. And then Kingdom Hearts, I don't play those sorts of games, but they brought it to the floor.
They pretty much sealed the deal with the Japanese gamer audience. They pretty much, those are the two biggest games that they could possibly put out to appeal to that demographic, and they got them locked down. So it's like, they're safe, man.
Yeah, and in contrast, what did Xbox do for the Japanese audience? Nothing.
Gave up on them pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's something that they acknowledged and had to do. I think that the variety as they went through. We were talking earlier, Dan, about the variety during the Xbox event, but Sony's variety fucking laid that to waste. You look at the difference between those indie games to JRPGs to to the other niches that they put out. It was far more impressive.
Oh yeah, totally.
They also mentioned Final Fantasy 14. I'm guessing that's going to be crossplay on the PS4, like it was in 11.
Yeah, they said it's come to PS3 as well, I think.
Yeah.
So, Square Enix is getting back in the Sony boat, which can only be a good thing for the Japanese market, really.
Because Final Fantasy 11 is still going now. You've got the PS2 version, 360 version, and PC version was all crossplay. And there's still, I think an expansion pack came out like earlier this year or last year.
That's the online one, isn't it?
It's still quite recent, like still going.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of positive things said about this Realm Reborn version of this game. Like, a lot of people who are saying that it resolved a lot of the issues they had with the initial Final Fantasy 14. So,
honestly, the initial version didn't even have basic MMO functions like mailing systems and stuff.
Well, a lot of Japanese developers, especially Square, they're not always super forward thinking with things that would make the user experience more intuitive. So, it's good at least they're working in the right direction. But I don't know.
And then Assassin's Creed 4. Which
I did wonder why we didn't get any gameplay at the Ubisoft conference. Now at
least they answered that question.
Yeah, it was all at the Sony conference. And it's
But we didn't even get that pinnacle moment with like the demo, climax, because it just lagged out before we got to that point.
Yeah,
I was
One
thinking.
shaking the controller, trying to get it to work.
I was thinking about that, like right as the conference ended, and I kind of was. It was one of those months where I was like, I asked for it. I asked for them to show us something, and now we might actually know why they didn't show that gameplay stuff during the Ubisoft conference. Because if that had bombed during their own conference, man, that would have looked pretty shady. And so, but you at least got to give them credit for bringing that out there. They obviously knew that that was a risk that they were going to run, and they still did it anyways.
What about the new gameplay functions like hiding foliage and stuff? Was that?
That doesn't seem that revolutionary, but I mean, I think it's just a matter of this version's going to be just a nicer looking PC-like version of the game that we've been playing for the past handful of years. I just don't see it being that different,
The only thing different I saw was the ship combat.
That wasn't that good.
Well, wasn't that in Assassin's Creed 3 in some capacity?
The ship combat was in Assassin's Creed 3, but
Yeah.
it was a separate part of the game.
Yeah.
But now you could, you ran across that rooftop and you were straight on the ship and straight and driving the ship.
So it's
Yeah.
more integrated into the actual main line.
It seems like that's, if you would say, that's akin to jumping in a car in Grand Theft Auto now.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than being off to the side, that is your main sort of area of transport between islands.
It's just real-time loading. I mean, it's just real-time loading the ship. My excitement for those games is kind of my excitement for, they are the blockbuster movies that I look forward to in this, in the summer. I don't... Watch Dogs doesn't look like it's going to be revolutionary. It looks like it'll be different enough that I'm interested in what they're doing, and I expect a decent time to be had with them. I don't think either of those games are going to win Game of the Year, but it doesn't mean they won't be fun to just be a popcorn munching, blow everything up, hack people's faces, slap their phones away. You don't get to make a phone call.
That was hilarious.
Right, for every No Country for Old Men, there's a Superman Man of Steel or something like that, yeah.
And if I'm going to watch blockbusters, I'd much rather play an Assassin's Creed 3 than a Call of Duty Ghost Dog Warfare,
See, if it was a game about ghost dogs, I would actually play that.
That's true.
Good game.
And
Your
then
move, Activision, your move.
Spectral Hound.
Watch Dogs did the same thing as the Massive Entertainment game did. The tablet crossplay thing. It seems to be a theme.
It's a
For
big
Ubisoft, for sure.
Yeah, I think they want to do it in a lot of their games just to, like I said, the Ubisoft, it brings people back to the game in a different way, and keep the game on their mind and sort of in their hands all the time. Which it's a good thing really for the developer. After that was Elder Scrolls.
Yes.
Yes.
Elder Scrolls Online is going to play as for. I don't really not an Elder Scrolls or an MMO person. Who's a fan? Anybody a fan?
Right here.
I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan.
I think it's a matter of the lore is going to be the thing that makes people play this game. It's not necessarily revolutionary mechanics because it's really nobody's figured out how to reinvent the MMO. But the lore is so interesting and complex and unique for the Elder Scrolls series that I feel like that's enough to make one of these kind of games, as long as it's capably made, work. So I'm excited, and I'm glad that they actually are going to have this on consoles because it's going to really help the user base thrive a bit compared to if it was just a PC only game.
It's the promise of next gen, right? Isn't this what we were promised? For a long time, console gamers have been like, how come we can't play an MMO? I like games. And now you're getting that. The next generation, this is what they said, and the next generation will have the RAM and the memory and the hard drive in order for you to play MMOs. So I feel like this was a necessary jump and an appropriate one for them to make. Especially, I don't think you could have asked for a more console-friendly MMO introduction than Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
It's a big difference between PC and console, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always like RTS and MMO, this is our thing, but now one of them's knocked off.
You have your World of Warcraft on your console.
Yeah.
As long as they let you play across platforms, that's my only concern. I would hate for them to gate it with each platform, but I think that if anybody could pull it off, it'd be Bethesda. So
And the other question I've got, when they mentioned the PS Plus at the end, they were talking about with the PS Plus membership, you get massively multiplayer as a feature. You know, that was one of the things on the list. So does that pay for your MMO subscription, or is it a separate thing? Or
Well, we don't even know if there is a subscription for Elder Scrolls yet. I think that's a question that would probably have to be answered by them. But I do not think
free to play.
I don't think your PS3 or your PS Plus subscription would cover your MMO subscription. I think that if there was a subscription base, because basically your PlayStation Plus is paying for the network, paying for the Sony employees and stuff like that. Bethesda would never see a dime of that, so they would have to charge.
They would charge. DC Universe Online works the same way now. On the PS3, you pay a fee on top of your PlayStation Plus or whatever you pay for to play DC Universe Online. And you buy that through the PlayStation Store, so it probably will work the same way.
But that was retroactive, though. I mean, they didn't make it initially to work that way. They just realized that was the only way they can make money is to do a freemium model.
Yeah.
Here, I wonder, they haven't specified, like you said, Josh, whether or not if it works like Guild Wars, where it's like small, basically everybody can team up in a town, but then every actual dungeon or what have you is instance. If that's the case, they could probably do like a $50 one-time purchase and then cosmetic add-ons and stuff like that. But it's too early to tell. I mean, they're just now about to get into beta, so we have no idea what to expect. But
from that beta is PS4 exclusive.
I don't think so.
Console will start on PS4.
Yeah,
There's already a closed beta going for PC.
Right.
From what I played a demo of Elder Scrolls Online at PAX East, and from what I did there, it seems like it is going to be a very involved service. Subscription model would make sense. Like I imagine $60 and 15 a month, World of Warcraft style. But I also imagine that they are going to make it worth it. You know what I mean? Like. I imagine there's going to be a ton of content in there.
They can't make the same mistakes that Star Wars: The Old Republic made because they thought we've got a great service, we've got a great universe and lore. Let's charge people for it, and how long did it last? Not even a year.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that it was great to see first person though. They showed some first person gameplay, like snippets of it, in that trailer and. That's how I want to play that game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think every Elder Scrolls fan will want to play first-person style.
Yeah. They also announced this. This is the thing I didn't see coming at all. Mad Max the game.
I know that was such a weird Yeah.
I thought it was Fallout 4, and I got so excited.
Yeah.
And then I went, oh no, and then I was like, people I was watching was like, are you sure? Look at the shoulder pads, man. It's Fallout. Oh.
Yeah.
That's what. I was going back and forth.
Mad Max bullshit, and then it turned out it was.
I was going back and forth because he pulled up in the car and I was like, cars are definitely not Fallout style. But he got out and he had the shoulder pads and the spikes and I was like, that's totally Fallout. It has to be. It has to be. And basically what Bethesda's shown is that they will announce like a zoo animal collection game before they announce Fallout 4. They're just going to hold on to that little diamond until they absolutely must announce it.
The giveaway for me was the Ford Falcon when I saw it, because I recognized that car straight away, that big-ass supercharger on it. I was like, that's Mad Max. Why is this here?
Well, at least it's not Rage 2. We can all be happy about that.
Yeah. And Road Warrior Survival Kit DLC exclusive.
Yeah.
So,
Which is nice to know.
Yeah, if you're going to play Mad Max the game.
The next thing they announced then was 140 games in development from PS4.
That's a lot of games.
That's a big shelf.
Now, I don't know whether that includes PSN games.
It would have to. 140? 140?
Yeah.
It would have to include.
Yeah, it has. That must include PS. Along with every, thing they release for it.
Yeah.
And then the best part of the conference came around. PS4 supports used games, and everything after that was just a kick in the balls for Microsoft, and they knew it.
It was fun. The way Jack Tretton comes out and goes, you will not have to connect your PlayStation 4 online to check every 24 hours. And Oh god, just
It was so specific. It was a kick in the balls for Microsoft. It was
floor. It was ridiculous. It was so good.
But the crowd's reaction was great. It's what we wanted to
He
hear.
was just standing there like, yeah, I know what I did.
Can you imagine being in the Sony war room to like after the E3 conference today? Like just sitting like just salivating, just being like, wait for us to drop this bomb. You know, like I mean just absolutely fantastic. And you know what it really does is it raises some massive questions as to why Microsoft's doing it now. Because if the publishers were demanding it, either Sony is vehemently standing up to the publishers or somehow sating them with some other promise, or it's Microsoft. Microsoft is the real person behind this.
Well, the only people who really care that much are the bigger publishers in the West, because if you look at it, the Japanese market, these kind of policies are very, very anti, they're very contrary to what the Japanese public wants. And if you look at it, the bigger guys that really want this, like Ubisoft and EA, they can't afford to not go put their stuff out on the PlayStation. It's just impossible. They're going to be cutting themselves off from so much potential profit. So really, Sony's in a position where they can actually they're able to flex their power in this scenario to be able to say, you know what? No, we're not going to go along with this just because Microsoft does. That's their thing, and if you want to hitch your wagon to that, then that's fine. But this doesn't have to be how it turns out. And in fact, they've spun it into a positive. I think that's great.
But what a ballsy move to like say that to a publisher, right? I mean, because
where else are they going to put their games?
Well, hang on, if we go back to what Nathan said about the Japanese market and stuff, there was a culture with the Sony products before where the local Japanese markets, the small local stores, would sell Sony products. And then suddenly Sony said, oh, actually, no, you have to be an official Sony store to sell these products. And that kind of killed some of the sales. But there's very much that culture of the used games in Japan and the small store kind of outlook.
Not to mention the kind of fear of online connectivity. Like, that's another policy that would not fly in Japan and in large parts of Asia and in parts of Europe. It just doesn't make any sense. So it's shooting themselves in the foot to go along with that. That would be showing weakness, and at this point, they have no reason to do so.
Especially with big companies like EA, they're getting rid of their sort of pass policy. What was it? The EA Online Pass or something?
I remember that.
Yeah, but if you look at it, that story is being told a little bit in the fact that we haven't seen EA mention the Xbox One, or I'm sorry, I mentioned the PS4. They have obviously thrown their weight behind Xbox One as much as they can.
Some of those games that we saw on Xbox, the EA event, were being played on PS4.
They were, but they never said the words PS4. They have tried to keep that on the DL as much as possible. And I think and EA seems like a company that would have those issues, that would really push to eliminate used game sales.
Well, the next thing was the PS Plus membership then. They were saying that it will apply to all platforms, PS3, PS4, Vita.
Less than $5.
Yeah, less than $5 a month, which is, I'm glad they haven't raised the price.
Yeah, I mean, I pay for it already. I pay for it at the moment. I pay what? I think it's like £11 every 3 months I dish out.
That's really good.
And it's worth it at the moment with the game collection.
Yeah.
And you get cloud syncing of saves, and my PlayStation, it's probably on right now, updating itself with firmwares and patches for games automatically. It's worth it now, but across all 3 of my systems, just amazing for that price.
And you look at the value, you pay here in the States we pay $17.99 for 3 months. And so basically I paid $17.99 these next 3 months for not only the cloud saves and all that stuff, but also I get Deus Ex Human Revolution, Uncharted 3, XCOM Enemy Unknown, and Saints Row the Third, all for that same price. Like
just this month.
Just this month.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we get Assassin's Creed 2 and a Halo 3.
And Halo 3.
which you can get for like $8 a piece anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're probably all going to be classic games that you either already had or weren't interested in anyway.
And that'd be
No Assassin's
fine.
Creed 2 is a classic.
Yeah, that'd be fine as like an auxiliary benefit, but like they're putting that out as the big tentpole thing we should be wowed by. Like seriously, between Steam sales and PlayStation Plus, it's almost insulting to try to put Halo 3 and Assassin's Creed 2 in front of us, and we're supposed to be impressed by that. We're supposed to grovel in front of them. Like that's just, it's insulting, man. I can't believe the nerve they have to do that.
The apt comparison would be putting like Uncharted 2 and God of War 3 free on the PlayStation Plus.
Or Uncharted 1, for Christ's sake. I mean, that's it's just ridiculous.
Consider the age of the games.
I mean, we get like 3 or 4 games a month on PlayStation Plus membership, and yet we're supposed to be groveling.
And that, sorry, that doesn't even include the Vita games, like the Vita games and the PSN games. Quantum Conundrum, Uncharted Golden Abyss. I mean, basically, when I bought my Vita, I had 3 games instantly to play on it because I was a PlayStation Plus member, which we're ramping up to when they said very coyly dropped the bomb that you would have to have PlayStation Plus in order to play multiplayer. But when you compare that, like we thought coming into this that PlayStation was going to have to come out and talk about DRM, always online. We were saying, please just give us a good way, present it in a nice way for us.
Yeah.
For them to push that aside and say, but by the way, if you want to play with your friends, could you just subscribe to PlayStation Plus? We give you games. We give you the cloud. We try to be your friends.
That's the thing. If when you buy Xbox Live, you don't. Well, you do now. You get 2 old games, but you don't get anything really for it. Nothing that you consider like a really proper bonus.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cross-game chat is nice, but it's not a huge thing, really.
It's like a DVD that says like interactive menus and scene selection are benefits to buying the DVD. It's like, really? These are all standards at this point. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, here's the simple question. Rory's a normal gamer. He's not like us. Like he's not industry kind of interested.
Not yet.
When was the last time you played Xbox Live? And you love Halo, and you love all things Xbox.
Halo 4.
There you go. Halo 4 was the last thing.
That was it. I just finished the game. I was like, okay, that's it for my Xbox.
And I got to say, it's the same for me.
Yeah. They've just given us no incentive with plenty of competition. The last couple of years, they have taken for granted their lead in the industry, I think, and it's coming back to bite them in the ass because I think they thought that this battle was won before they got here, and they really took for granted how scrappy Sony is at this point. I think and to their detriment, for sure.
Came out swinging. I mean, this was such... So I was like watching on my couch, laptop on my lap, with my phone in hand. And when they said this, I had to put my laptop aside, sit up, and just shake my head. Like, think about how we came into today. What were the chances that we thought we were going to get that announcement? No DR, used games with no questions asked, and no online connectivity restrictions. Like 1 in 100, maybe.
For days and days leading up to this, like when Microsoft did that press release on Thursday, Friday, whenever it was in the last week, we were going, okay, Microsoft is fucked. Microsoft screwed themselves over with this somewhat, but we don't know what Sony are going to do. They're probably, and me and my housemate talking about this stuff all the time because we're not normal people, and we're going on and on and on and on and on and on. Sony will probably do it as well, and for them to come out and say no was just jaw-dropping, really.
And if you want proof of the reaction, just fucking watch the fans' reaction and go to Twitter. Like, I mean, I was looking for one person who was trying to justify Microsoft's position, and no one could do it. It was a clear-cut victory.
Not even Microsoft.
Even the people who had been contrarian up to this point and said, wait for E3, wait for E3. You guys are being mean. This is ridiculous. Remember when PlayStation 3 sucked? It's like, come on now. It ceases to be about politics after a certain point, and it's just a clear case of one is presenting a case for being more consumer-friendly than the other. I don't know how else to look at it, regardless of your history.
Since February.
Jack Trenton nailed it. He said, amidst that cheering, he's like, Sony trusts the consumer. And I think you're actually seeing repercussions of the PlayStation 3 launch, where Sony told the consumer, they dictated the consumer, you will get a second job to pay for this. And they realized that doesn't work. You have to trust the consumer to tell you what you want, you know? And
Yeah, I mean,
proof's in the pudding.
and that usually comes from a company that is coming off of being the industry leader from the previous generation.
Mhm.
I almost get to this point where I'm like, whoever technically wins the generation is probably going to come into the next one with a lot of arrogance and probably make a lot of really stupid mistakes that are going to be anti-consumer.
Yeah, and in 5 years, we'll all be jumping off this Sony bandwagon as fast as we can.
Hopefully not, but probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get on to the price, we've got Destiny and the Gaikai Gaming Cloud Library to talk about.
I don't get trickle.
Gaikai seems cool. I hope it works. I hope it, like, because right now the theory behind Gaikai is that it's going to be able to stream our, like, PlayStation 1 classics, PlayStation 2 classics.
If that's the case, that would be amazing. If every single game ever to be released on a PlayStation console,
If they can do the ultimate thing in every game on that list,
Yeah.
it'll be great.
Yeah.
The big question is, one, will it be comprehensive? Two, will the pricing be reasonable? Because
Yeah.
I mean, they're asking you to rebuy a lot of this stuff. And three, will the infrastructure work to where you don't have constant lag or like downtime where you can't access the things you paid for? So,
Well, if we look at the pricing so far on the PS1 classics, they're usually about, say, $4 or $5 on average. And then when you get to stuff like Tomb Raider and Abe's Odyssey, they tend to jump up to about $8 or something. But like Nathan said, how much are we going to have to pay for this? Because you got to think about the cloud servicing, Gaikai's maintenance and
It
stuff.
would have
What?
to be a subscription.
Yeah, it'd have to be a subscription, and at that point, you're kind of stacking subscriptions.
Yeah.
You know? How many
Then you'll have
subscriptions can you
PS
stack
Plus,
on between
Gaikai.
my Elder Scrolls and my PlayStation Plus and
The PlayStation Plus Plus.
my PlayStation Plus Plus and my Gaikai Plus?
I don't see myself rebuying PS3 games too often. I just don't. I have a working PS3 that can run in 720 or 1080, but I could see myself rebuying PS2 games if the price is reasonable.
Yeah.
Spiral.
Or if you could stream them onto your Vita, that would be even better, because I feel like a lot of those older games work better in a portable fashion anyway.
Yeah.
But you've got to really think though before people start buying those old games. It'd be nice to have them as a cheap subscription service.
Yeah.
You can play back and sort of delve into them if you want to. Keep save files on your system. But I'm not sure I would dish out really a lot of money or even some money for a title that I played before.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
It's a matter of like, because not everybody is about going back and revisiting games. Games are such a tech forward thing for a lot of people that the idea of revisiting older games is just kind of contrary to their.
It's almost a niche thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so the idea of, I mean, I don't think the subscription thing's very likely, only because they're going to make more money off the few people who are interested in this by selling them piecemeal. But it would be great for me because I want to go back, and every once in a while I get in the mood where I want to go back and play all these old games. So it would be cheaper for me, but it's not going to necessarily make sense for them probably.
Yeah,
And with so many emulators and stuff, do you really need to?
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious when, like, 6 years ago, when the consoles that we got at the moment were being announced, everyone was, backwards compatibility is a big deal. But now you don't hear that anymore.
At least not the outcry that it was, that's for sure.
Yeah, like you get people going, but it's
Yeah.
they're moving forward so quickly in a lot of the games.
Well, I think the biggest problem with that comes down to the fact where, like, you know, for instance, someone's like, you know, PS3 backwards compatibility. It's like, well, I hate to break it to you, the PS3 was a janky ass system. You know, that complete, like they'd have to build a PS3 that attached onto your PS4, and that just, it's impractical.
Well, the main reason why people like backwards compatibility is because it usually helps with the drought that comes after the system releases.
Oh, yeah.
But when you consider that this next generation is going to be much more streamlined in terms of like upscaled PS3 and 360 games being released on this thing, like Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed 4, I don't think we're going to have the drought that we necessarily get normally. On top of that, you have all the PSN games that are going to come out on this thing that are going to help kind of offset the slow period that the backwards compatibility fills. So we might not even really need it for the normal reasons people ask for it.
Yeah.
That slow period though has been solved buy PlayStation Plus.
Yes.
Because they are giving everyone who subscribes to PlayStation Plus Drive Club for free.
Yeah.
And that is
Wait, really?
that is
With
yes.
Drive Club, they did say the PS Plus edition, which makes me think it's like a lighter version for
Yeah.
some reason.
That it probably is, but like
It's
they do
still
it for-
good.
They're still you get that for a whole year,
Yeah.
and on
But
top
just-
of that, you are getting a game every month for like maybe
Yeah,
a light
I
version
do
or
have a
something like
list
that.
somewhere. I think the next ones to come on PS Plus, if I can find it, was
I mean,
Don't Starve, Outlast, and Poncho. They were the next, the
yeah.
indie games.
I mean that just goes back to the point that I think everybody's understanding that at this point the policies that Sony is putting forward are pro-consumer and Microsoft's ultimately are not. I mean that's the reason why everyone's upset at Microsoft, because they feel like they're getting more value out of their dollar. They can justify spending $400 on this thing because they know that there is stuff on there they're going to get for cheap, if not for free. I mean, it's hard to be that pissed off about it when you get all those different offers to you. So.
Not to mention, I mean, with that, we always forget to say this, but not only with the PlayStation Plus membership do you get free games, you get a shit ton of discounts on games. And yes, it's like $2 here, $5 here, but it's still appreciated. Like they're
still
doing what
adds
they
up.
can.
If you're going to pick up that stuff anyway, you're paying for your Plus subscription even if before you've got the instant game collection. So it's too much of a good deal.
And I will also say the one thing that PlayStation Plus has really done for me effectively is it has done exactly what PlayStation wants it to do, and it drives me to the PlayStation Store. Like if I'm already on there downloading, Deus Ex: Human Revolution for free, I might as well pay the $20 and pick up Unfinished Swan while I'm here, or it gives me a trust in that system. Like because they give me free games, I feel like I want to spend money there. I want to be part of that. Whereas I usually go out of my way to not buy games on the Xbox Live Store.
It's almost like the Xbox Live Marketplace is has animosity towards the user. Like you're gonna deal with these ads and you're gonna deal with this bullcrap and you're gonna like
Even
it.
though you pay for it.
Yeah.
Because
By the way, guys, we've changed from our fake Microsoft currency to dollars. Aren't you happy?
Oh.
How good are we?
the whole thing was like them patting themselves on the back for basically nothing. I just, oh man, how far they've fallen in the past 3 or 4 years.
It's quite amazing, really, to be honest, to go from where they were.
Yeah.
And then
Literally,
lastly,
like-
we have Destiny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Destiny.
Go Destiny.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it was amazing as in it looks fun. It just looks like Sony's Halo.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
It looks like the game that no one played this spring, Defiance. Defiance and Borderlands had a baby, dressed up as Halo, and sent it trick or treating on the on the next generation console.
Great.
I think that the giant firefight at the end was kind of what got it for me, because that was actually one of the cool parts of Defiance, was when there would be this arc drop, and all of a sudden all these people would come rushing in, shooting. You don't know who the hell is where, what the hell's going on, but you're all just desperately trying to take out this one central objective. And I think that is a cool thing that can happen. It looks like that's a spontaneous reaction to something that happens in the game, and suddenly you have 10 people that you've never knew shooting at this one central thing.
Wow.
It's the same as Guild Wars 2. That kind of figured out the social element, which is what Elder Scrolls is going for, which is dynamic kind of questing. So something happens while you're just exploring. It's an open event.
It helps
It's not-
kind of break up the monotony. Yeah.
Yeah, God, the most backhanded comment ever.
No. I don't mean it that way. But I mean, if you look at these games, there is kind of a gameplay flow that gets sort of tedious. And
Go
so
here,
the idea-
get this, hand it in.
Yeah,
Go,
I mean,
hand in.
Well, and let's face it,
Yeah.
as we watch that demo, we're all like, yeah, I've never killed aliens in a building before.
Right.
Way to go, guys. With, space age guns. This is, okay.
God, what is with the sci-fi shooter this this next gen seems to be like everybody going, we're tired of modern military shooters. Let's go the opposite direction. Do sci-fi shit with robots and aliens.
In a not-too-distant future.
But before the twist of going back to World War II.
Oh God.
That is where this is all headed. It'll come full circle. Everyone's gonna be like, I haven't made a Siege of Normandy spin-off recently. Might as well-
People are gonna be like, what about
no,
World
wait,
War
I
One?
forgot. We won't have the Siege of Normandy. We'll have that Roman game. I forgot.
Meanwhile, Insomniac's going, we just got done with our Resistance series. Now we're in the perfect time.
No, never is a perfect time for Insomniac shooters, apparently.
Yes.
But Destiny will be good though.
Yeah, that much is agreed.
It's got that caliber. It can't not be bad.
If it's a choice between that and the Titanfall game, I'm definitely going with Destiny personally. It
God
seems
damn
like
right.
that setting
Well,
and
you're gonna have to buy an Xbox One to play Titanfall.
right. Well, that makes the decision for me. But you know, even if I were to buy
Titanfall
one,
was just Mech Assault mixed with Call of Duty. Like I can go buy Mech Assault on the Xbox, like the original one, and I can just go play Call of Duty. I don't need the two mixed in together.
It's Battle Engine.
it really felt like all like the dialogue and the interstitial stuff was about as flat as Call of Duty games anyway. So I'm like, man, it just seems so like reskinned, you know? Like there was such a craven move to like fool people into believing that this is not Call of Duty, but it totally is.
You can tell it was the two founders of Infinity Ward that designed it.
I think the difference between these two is that, and we're talking minutia here, but with Titanfall, I'm dropping out of a dropship as someone says, the objective has gotten precarious. There are people surrounding the ambassador. You must get them out alive. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no fucking shit. I've done this. Whereas at least there seems to be a fantastical element with Destiny that is appreciatited, I guess.
It lends it a little bit.
It has so much style.
It at least fools you into thinking it's not a Halo reskin a bit better than Titanfall.
It's not Halo.
Right. Yeah, Destiny, totally not Halo, coming this fall.
That's not gonna Halo.
And at least the Destiny people wearing cloaks kind of worked.
Yeah,
right.
It could be cool.
And it looks like now it looks like Halo's trying to mimic Destiny. Master Chief is coming out in his raggedy poncho, you know.
Well, I don't know who was fooled by that. Honestly, it was like everyone knew what the hell that was. I don't know what that's supposed to be a big
I
reveal.
thought it was
Master
Prince
Chief.
of Persia when I first saw it.
Me too, and I was so pissed.
I was hoping for Journey, the Journey Gritty Edition.
Journey
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Dan, you know where this is going to.
We need to talk about the price.
It's amazing.
It is $399 US, 350 British pounds.
€299 for me.
Yeah, oh yeah, Irish.
Euro.
399 euros. That is fucking amazing.
Yeah, Dan, rewind to the beginning of today when we did the Xbox podcast, and what I say to you, I said, Sony, if they undercut it $25, $50, game over. They undercut it by $100.
Yeah.
And I called it on Facebook. I said 350 to 400 pounds, and I didn't think they'd go for the lower one.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
it's
Like,
I think they knew. I think they knew they had to do something drastic because all the other things that they were doing that ultimately, when we look back on it, are positives. This is what it boils down to more than anything. If you're talking about a lack of a large variety of exclusives for both platforms or the use thing, ultimately people care about the price more than anything else. So
We can't spend anything anymore.
yeah, I mean,
if they had come out and said $599 US, you would have gone, I'm buying an Xbox One.
yeah, we would have, right?
Yeah.
I think they were very sensitive about what happened last reveal of the PlayStation 3, about how they've been given. People have given them shit about that for like what 7 years now. I mean,
They made a giant enemy crab joke halfway through.
Right.
Yeah, you very well.
Oh, you got
sure. Yeah, you're right. They had a lot of humility about the mistakes they've made in the past, and I think that's what led them to make all the right decisions with this new platform. I mean.
And that was also what was great about the conference. About it wasn't Microsoft robots kind of stiff facing. Oh yes, hello. It was kind of just an informal.
We're casual.
It's people who have toiled under the yoke of the bad reputation of the PlayStation brand for the past 6 years, finally getting to come out from under it and go, we have finally done it. We have done everything we could to make you guys cool with us again, and we're sorry about what happened in the past. We're different this time. Yeah,
If we
It's-
can just reverse the divorce papers and get
Yeah,
married
exactly.
again.
It's like Sony cheated on us, 6 years ago, and has been in the doghouse for 6 years, being like, please, please, I'm so sorry.
I've had counseling.
Meanwhile, the current boyfriend we have could not give a shit about our feelings whatsoever. He's that
Exactly.
Abusive and
The plug. Biggest
Yeah,
plug.
it's just crazy. I mean, it's so crazy to see this complete reversal. You wouldn't think that anything drastic like this would have happened given the stalemate we've been at the last handful of years.
And it's weird how much that metaphor works, because we're either going to stay with the abusive boyfriend and be like, oh, everything's fine, and just delude ourselves about it, or we're going to say, yeah, we can do better going back.
I hate to be America-centric, but I look at this situation very similarly to the current election, the previous election between Mitt Romney and Obama, where Mitt Romney put his foot in his mouth every possible opportunity he could, and had the arrogance to think that everybody was unhappy with the Obama administration. Meanwhile, Obama just sat back and let him make a fool of himself, much like Sony did this time around. So I mean, all they had to do was just sit back and go, dude, we're not crazy like that guy, and that's pretty much it.
Oh,
I think
that's nail on the head.
And as Twitter would be more than happy to tell you en masse, it was the drop the mic moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it was just like, hey, we're out. We got nothing left to.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell like an hour into the conference that they were holding off on that price, and there's no way in hell they could have walked away from this without announcing that. So they were clearly waiting until the last possible second to do that, and it was I can't say classy move, but it was the smartest move they could have made.
And by the time they won us over with the used games announcement, we were already on their side. It's just the price had to be. It was the final bullet.
It was just great PR. I mean, they were very cunning in the way they handled that whole situation. So yeah, totally.
Yeah, okay, like we did this with other press conferences so far. One high, one low from everybody. Who wants to go first?
David, go ahead. You go first.
I'll let Rory go first.
Okay, Rory, go first.
One highlight and one low point again.
Is there a low with Sony?
Is there a low?
High would be Destiny, of course.
Okay.
Low, when Assassin's Creed fucked up.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of that would be my low point as well. Actually, is when Assassin's Creed wouldn't work.
Like
Not so much Sony's fault, but
it just happened.
it was running on PS4 hardware, I assume. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the high point would be, I think the price for me. It was really, as you said, the drop mic moment. It was just the moment I was like, yes, I'm trading in my Nexus tablet. I'm trading in my Xbox 360, and I'm going to put a deposit down on this as soon as game announced the price, as in their price.
Yes.
Does Amazon.co.uk because they had a pre-order option the moment they finished the conference. I don't know if you guys had that same option.
Well, I haven't
it
looked
was-
yet. We've literally just come to this.
Yeah.
Okay, I would get on that.
It was at £600, which is their sort of like, we don't want it to go over this probably sort of price. So hopefully I'll have a look right now while Nathan is doing his high and low.
The whole thing was a high.
I don't know if there's really a low. I mean, I guess I would agree that the Assassin's Creed moment, which granted I had no investment in, so when that happened, I'm like, well, it's not as bad as that Battlefield 4 kerfuffle that happened.
And then
That
Watch
was
Dogs recovers, and
yeah. You know what? Actually, I think Watch Dogs for me, but just because I feel so nonplussed about that game. I will play it, but I don't really care. It's not why I was. Yeah, it's not the tentpole game for me this fall. I'm not really super pumped about it. So the reiterative stuff, because I've watched like 3 trailers for Watch Dogs today. I felt so burned out on it that would probably be my low point. But the high point obviously would be the combination of here is how we are not Microsoft with the used game policy and the price. And for me, Infamous 2 or Infamous Second Son was honestly the game. Like, this trailer was so much more impressive to me than the stuff we'd seen prior, and I felt like, okay, this clicked with me. I'm super pumped I now have a game that I'm like, I have to have as soon as this thing comes out. So that would probably be the moment where I'm like, okay, now I feel justified in having pre-ordered this thing. There's at least 2 or 3 games I'm super psyched about, and this is it. So yeah, I would probably say Infamous, I guess, for my personal favorite moment of that whole thing?
I've just got back from Amazon. It is 349 British pounds with free delivery with Amazon Prime.
And they don't charge you a deposit, so get on it.
I just about to click pre-order because I have Amazon Prime. So high point for me was like there wasn't a lot that wasn't a high point.
Yeah.
But again, that price was a little bit lower than I expected, which is also good. But the used game thing I did not see coming at all. Like honestly, I honestly would have thought that they would have sort of not touched it.
Yeah.
But the fact they did come out and say, nope, no online, no used games, nothing, don't worry about it, fine, carry on as normal, don't worry about it. That, totally out of left field, did not expect that to happen at all. For a low point, I suppose, can we say something that didn't happen for a low point? Because I would have liked to see a little more of a reason to play my Vita with the PS4.
Yeah.
Like, I would have liked, like, I've got Killzone already on the pre-order, and I'm probably going to get Tearaway as well. But like, I would have liked to see more like, here's how your Vita will work with the PS4, and here's why you should buy a Vita on its own, sort of thing.
I think it's still so early that they don't really know. They don't really have anything strong to present to people at this point. But that you're right that it's going to be. I think the Vita is mostly going to be the indie thing, the thing you play your indie games on, and a complementary device to the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, like the Watch Dogs tablet thing. Maybe it'll be the replacement for a tablet if you don't have one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but honestly, compared to just dropping it entirely, I'd rather them give us something to do with it rather than to just give up on it like some people seem to think they should do. I think that's stupid, but
I actually feel like the amount of support that they've been able to drum up for the Vita is pretty impressive. Just, you know, the Vita and Wii U have walked similar paths. I feel like whereas Nintendo almost feels out of options with the Wii U, Sony continues to go to these indie developers and desperately they're like, port it, bring it, whatever you need to do, make something for our, you know, little handheld. And I think that's admirable.
Well, and it's paid off for a lot of indie devs, so they're happy with it. I mean, they're getting incentives to put their stuff on there, and they're happy that they've got stuff for people who already bought the damn thing. I would have preferred a price drop for people who haven't already bought it because I feel like it's a good device. It's just not enough people.
Expensive.
Yeah, it's not cheap to buy on a whim, basically, which is what you would need to do. You know.
And you're right. Everyone who buys it says the exact same thing. It's a great device. It's just getting people to make that jump and buy it.
Right.
Especially if it's going to get regulated to the peripheral indie world, you know, like you were saying, Nate.
Sure.
I think that it desperately needs a price drop if that's what it becomes.
I'm hoping that the Japanese market, because portables are so big there compared to you know in the West, I'm hoping that will help continue to get it Japanese games that will entice people enough to at least buy it on some level where it's viable.
Well, Phantasy Star Online 2 is beginning that trend, but without Monster Hunter, it's kind of...
I think Monster Hunter's coming. It's just going to take a little while. And there's also that God Eater Burst or whatever, that other Monster Hunter-like game. There's stuff coming out. It's just a matter of... I think the Japanese developers are just now getting around to seeing the platform as worth spending money on to develop a game for. So I think in the next year we'll probably see more stuff, but I just don't think they have anything right now to show. So, but yeah, Dan, I agree with you. It was kind of disappointing that they go, well, we're gonna have stuff on it, but don't really have anything to say right now. You know.
I kind of expected it to happen because they needed to talk about next gen.
Sure.
But I would have liked it to be more involved in the next gen conversation. But
it was either that or not mention it at all and just pretend like the Vita doesn't exist, and that would upset people more so.
That would be even worse,
Yeah.
Josh, you have a high and a low for us before we
I think the high absolutely has to be no DRM. Online, once again, Twitter and the fan reaction will tell you all you need to know about that announcement. I think the low has to be the glitchiness that happened in the Assassin's Creed 4 Watch Dogs trailers. It's just unfortunate. Just unfortunate.
If that's the biggest complaint we can make, that's actually really damn good.
Yeah. I mean, remove the Assassin's Creed glitch out of it, and maybe the Watch Dogs disappointment because not everyone likes it. What can you really complain about?
It wasn't spectacular. Come on.
It didn't need to be.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's wrap this up. That's the end of E3 day 0, I suppose. Or the end of the.
Yeah, we made it!
I've been up for 24 hours. Yes.
Yeah, go the hell to bed, Dan.
I'm
Godspeed.
still feeling good. Still feeling good. It's 5:45 in the morning in the UK. And
It's light outside.
And it's
it
bright.
is light outside. In 9 hours' time, Nintendo are doing their direct.
Pokemon XY.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully some Super Mario 3D something on the Wii U. Hopefully some Smash Brothers, some Mario Kart. Who bloody knows? But
And of course, the Square Enix headlines as well.
yeah, Square Enix coming tomorrow as well. Just after that, me and Josh are doing another one of these hangouts, 2-man show for Nintendo, and we'll have some headlines and that on the site. And David, you're doing Square Enix doing a Final Fantasy Q&A. I think it is they're doing.
I'm not sure if it's. I think there is a bit of a conference as well. Well, they've already revealed Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15, so I guess it's going to be a Q&A.
It'll be more things about those, which is
How good do you feel? I feel great.
not a bad thing. Yeah, that's like tomorrow evening UK time, tomorrow morning lunchtime US time. But we'll have a look covered on the site. Everything we've done so far today is all up on hardreads.co.uk. Everything. And as soon as I have a little bit of sleep, we're going to put trailers and all sorts of stuff up on there as well. And from that, I'm going to bid you all adieu, and I'm going to go. My bed is there.
Just collapse.
It's literally, I can almost touch it. I can almost touch it. So I'm going to go to sleep. And we'll see everybody after Nintendo.
Yeah.
Wave. Yeah.
Deuces, yo.